everyone, welcome back. Today we are doing another first impressions video. I've got some by Terry, a brand I've never tried before because it's expensive. They had a sale, so I was able to buy some things. I've got some Fenty Beauty, which I have never tried before. We've also got some Dior, Beauty Pie, Revlon, Nabla, Clinique. Is that it? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's get started. Today we're kicking off with the by Terry Nude-Expert Duo Stick Foundation. This is the shade One Fair Beige. I have swatched it already. It's a little unusual. How do I twist this? There we go. It's a little unusual because it's got half foundation and half highlight. Usually with something like this you get half highlight, half blush, and you just apply it on your cheek because obviously a foundation is going everywhere. So it's a little bit unusual to put highlight all over your face, but I have swatched this and it does seem to be a rather subdued glow. So I'm hoping that what I will get is just a nice glowy, dewy kind of finish, not super disco ball beaming. I'm using the Real Techniques Expert face brush. It definitely has that signature by Terry rose scent, but it is a natural rose scent, thank goodness. It's not like a super synthetic, overpowering, makes your nose tickle, want to sneeze kind of scent. It is more like you're actually sniffing a rose, so that's pretty luxurious. You can see that this is giving a pretty light natural coverage. It's not super pigmented. It is sitting on top of the skin a little bit. I think I'm going to try and just sort of press with the brush, see if I can get that kind of more into the skin rather than on top of the skin, because when foundation sits on top of the skin it does tend to highlight pores. And I don't usually have a big problem with my pores showing, but this is making them a little bit prominent. Maybe because it does have that like highlight side in it. It's not particularly emollient, it is a slightly drier texture, so I'm glad I've got a nice dewy sunscreen on underneath. Let's see if we can build up the coverage here. A little bit, not a whole lot. It's a little pale for me right now, but it'll be good in the winter. Moving on to our next product, it is the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I'm in the shade 0N, which I'm guessing is their lightest shade, and N will stand for neutral undertone. This is an enormous concealer. I mean, look, this is the by Terry foundation, and this is the concealer. I mean, this is kind of small, but this is massive. This is gonna last me forever. It's a very creamy, lightweight feeling formula. Wow, that blends like super easily. My goodness, that's nice. Now this is supposed to be full coverage, so we'll see. It's not Tarte Shape Tape level full coverage, but it is a lot more creamy and hydrating and less dry. Has quite a thin texture, so I think layering it up, it's not gonna get heavy or cakey feeling because that texture is so thin. It actually seems quite natural. Like the coverage, there's definitely coverage there, but it's not heavy looking. It's definitely more of a comfortable, light feeling concealer on the face. And I wouldn't say it's full coverage, I'd say that's a medium coverage. The next thing is just a different color of a product I already have, the Pro Glow Strobing Drops from Beauty Pie. This is the shade Astrosurf, and it's a pearlescent pink. I don't usually like a pink highlight, but the other shade, Illuminati, which has more of the undertone that I like, is a little bit too dark for me. It's more of a very glowy bronzer. So I bought this shade because I figured that if I don't like how pink this is, I can mix the two together and like custom create my own highlight. But for now, we're just gonna try this pink one by itself. It might look pretty unnatural on my slightly more yellowy neutral skin tone, but we'll see. One of the good things about these drops is that they blend like a dream. They're super beginner friendly. They don't go patchy or dry down too quickly. I actually quite like it. Like, it's not overwhelmingly pink, which is a good thing. And we are going for a slightly more cool toned look today, so the pink highlight should work all right. The next product I have is still in the box. This is my first Fenty product, and it is a cream blush, the Cheeks Out Freestyle cream blush. really, really cutely shaped packaging. This is 07 Drama Class, which is a purple. Now I know what you might be thinking, this is a little bit of an intense colour for someone of my skin tone. It could be a little bit over the top, but I went for this colour simply because purple is actually a really hard cream blush colour to find. I have lots of pinks, peaches, even oranges, but nothing in this kind of tone. So I'm hoping that I will be able to apply it lightly and not look crazy. You know what, this is lovely. You can apply it nice and sheer. So if you are looking for this kind of undertone of blush and you're worried about being too fair for the shade, don't worry, you can just go in with a light hand and it is a really, really pretty, cool toned blush shade, and I'm really liking it. It's also a really nice texture. It's not too stiff, it's not too waxy, it's not overly slick and creamy. It doesn't feel super sticky on my skin. It definitely has a good level of pigment to it, but not so much that I can't use it on my skin that's the same colour as a frickin' wall. I mean, you know, on Zoom calls, like we have so many Zoom calls these days, I literally am blending into the wall behind me. Like my face is the same colour as my cream wall. That's all of our cream products. I don't have a new setting powder, so I'm going to use my Laura Mercier before I move on to a By Terry powder product. So I've set just the centre of my face because I don't want to take down the nice glowy effect we have going on from that foundation and liquid blush, liquid highlight, etc. But I am going to put on a little bit of powder blush because I have this beautiful compact from By Terry, and this is the Terrybly Densiliss Contouring, I guess it's a blush. The shade is 400 Rosy Shape, and this is so heavy and it's so luxurious, and it came in a velvet pouch. I feel very fancy. I was very glad I caught them having a sale, and this is what it looks like inside. So it's a two-toned blush. This side isn't a highlight, it's not shiny, it's still more of a satin matte shade, but you can obviously create more of a slightly contoured slash shifting colour from dark to light kind of a look with this, or you can just mix them together. Now, if I could find my blush brush, we'd be in a good place. So I'm just gonna stamp these together, I think, and then tap off my brush because I have no idea how pigmented this is, and I'm gonna start it at the back, I think, and just blend it down into the purple because I don't want to completely cover the purple, but I do want to try this blush out. I'm going to take now just a little bit of the darker side, and I'm going to squeeze my brush and kind of use that almost like a little contour and see how it turns out. Not sure that was a good idea, but never mind. Honestly, I'm just so happy to have something in such a luxurious compact. This makes me feel very grown up. I'm going to finish the rest of my face with a little bronzer and contour. Not new product, so I'm just going to whiz through that. I used the Revlon Skin Lights bronzer and the Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder in light. And now we can move on to our eyes. Today I'm going to be trying out the Nabla Miami Lights glitters and this Clinique Pretty Easy Liquid eyelining pen. Now I am terrible at liquid eyeliner. This claims to be pretty easy, so we will see. I've whacked on some eyeshadow and some brows so that we can test out these other products. Now I'm going to use the liner, I think, before the glitter, just because if I put the glitter on, the glitter's all going to get up in the brush of this liner, and I don't really want that to happen. So let's have a look at this. Okay, so here is the pen line. It's not the most opaque black ever, but it is reasonably black. It's got a relatively stiff, not too flexible tip, and it seems like not too much product is pooling in the end of the brush. Now, like I said, I'm not good at this, so if it goes well, then it's a testament to the product, because this is probably not going to go well. Like, I'm just not good at liner. See, I got some like on my eyelid. We'll try and fix that later. Now for the hard part of doing the wing, which is not something that I'm good at. Let's give it a go. Okay, not terrible. My hands shake when I'm trying to do this. I feel like I need to give it a little shake. This wing is now enormous in my attempt to try and get it sharp, but oh, now I'm getting transfer onto my eyelid. Great. Okay, so things I like about this so far. I like the tip. I like the product inside of it. I think it flows out quite nicely. You can get quite a sharp line and a fine point. You know, obviously it's going to help if you're better at wing liner than me. It is a little wet, so you have to wait for it to dry. Like I just blinked and now I have eyeliner everywhere. Obviously this wing is pretty extreme. And my eye watered and now it's like down there. Okay, let's try and fix this. Okay, so once this is dry, it is actually quite hard to remove, which is good in that I think that now that it's dry, it's gonna hold up. Obviously, whilst it was still wet and then my eye watered a bit at the corner, it did kind of go a bit messy, but I have watery eyes. So let's just put a bit more back there and hope that my eye doesn't water and it dries down. Okay, no, I think my eye is just determined to water, so I'm gonna leave that and not make it any more of a mess. Now I gotta try and match up the other eye. I really should have done my left eye first, you know, I'm probably gonna be worse on this eye, but too late. Okay, I think we have like vaguely matching eyes. Obviously these wings are pretty extreme because I'm really bad at wing liner, and now every time I try and match them up, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. But it wasn't as big of a mess as it could have been. I do think this is a nice product. Here again, my eye was watering at the corner. I tried to apply it, so it kind of made a mess. But now that it's dry, it seems pretty budge proof. I like the level of stiffness that the tip of the brush has. I think that made it easier to apply. And I think if I was more confident and I could just go in and be like, shh, then it would work pretty damn well. I think it's just, it's obviously not the fault of the product that I suck at wing liner. Yeah, that one might. Is this one bigger? This one might be bigger. Moving on to something a little easier to work with, I have some lovely glitter. These are the Miami Lights glitters from Nabla. They have some interesting names. This is Muses, Aries, Scorpio, and Firmament. Firmament? That is a weird name, but I am going to use that Firmament purple glitter, and I am going to use some glitter glue. I always use glitter glue because otherwise it tends to be a mess. So this is just a NYX glitter primer, and I'm going to pop a little bit onto my lid. And I'm going to take some of that purple glitter on my finger. It is coming out quite easily from the palette. And let's just try and get some of the glitter fall out off my face before it sticks and doesn't want to move. This might be a product to use when you're doing your eyes before your makeup, because where the glitter's fallen down onto my face, it's proving a little difficult to brush off. Let's do the other eye. It's definitely incredibly pretty and very, very sparkly. Some of these glitter pieces are quite big. It's not like a super fine glitter. It is kind of chunky, but you know, that's a vibe. I look ready to party, which of course I can't because coronavirus, but still, it is a pretty cool glitter. I feel very glam. Moving on to lips, and I have this Revlon Kiss Cloud Blotted lip colour, which kind of reminds me of the Peri Pera. This is the Peri Pera one, the Airy Ink Tint. These have been around for ages. They're KBT classic. This looks like it's kind of trying to be similar. This is the shade Cashmere Mauve 015. This is what it looks like. Not sure if this shade really matches like my purple vibe, but it's what we got. Yeah, it has that same velvety, slightly moussey, very light, slightly matte, slightly not matte texture that the Peri Pera Airy Ink Velvets do. I'd say it's very, very similar. It's highlighting a bit of dryness here, but it feels very lightweight. It's not like super pigmented, but it's pigmented enough. Now, usually I would overline my top lip, and this is not pigmented enough by itself, and it doesn't have a sharp enough edge to the applicator to create an overline. So if I wanted to overline, I would have to go in with a lip liner. Maybe this one will work in colour. Could do a sharpening that, couldn't I? This is the Beauty Pie lip liner. What's the shade? Damsel. So I've used that to overline just a little bit. Now I'm going to pop a tiny bit more lip product on. Okay, so this is probably not going to be as long wearing as a regular liquid lipstick because it's not drying down fully, it's staying sort of semi-matte and moussey in texture, but that is a lot more comfortable and a lot less drying than a traditional liquid lipstick. I do feel that it's basically a Western copy of the Peri Peri, but you know, like it can be difficult in the West sometimes to get like something like the Peri Peri. You have to order it online. You're kind of making a guess about the shade based on swatches. You can't just go into a store and actually see it. So, you know, people make dupes all the time. It's just one of those things. I'm gonna whack some mascara on, some brow gel, and come back to wrap up. And we're done with this not quite full face of first impressions. So let me run through everything very quickly and sum up. I'm not sure about the foundation. I'm not usually like a stick foundation kind of person, but I thought I would give it a go. I'm glad that it's not too greasy feeling or heavy feeling on the skin, but it doesn't give a huge amount of coverage and it does sit on top of the skin slightly. So I feel I'm gonna have to play with it a bit more before I like fully decide on whether I like it or not. I really loved the concealer. I really loved the cream blush. I really loved the Pro Glow Strobing drops. The By Terry blush. Basically, like all of those initial base products, apart from maybe the foundation, I definitely really like. So moving on to the eyes, the glitter is really pretty, but I would recommend a glue and I would recommend doing your eyes first. The eyeliner I do actually like, so I don't do winged liner very often. I can't even talk about winged liner because it makes me that nervous. I just stumble over all my words. It was a good level of stiffness, a good shape, a good amount of product coming through the brush. It wasn't too much, so it wasn't getting everywhere. Now that it's dry, it's actually quite hard to remove. I still have some on my hand, and I did use an oil-based cleanser trying to remove this, and it's still on there. So I think now that it's dry, it is gonna hold up and be reasonably water resistant. But obviously if my eye is watering as I'm putting it on, that's not gonna go well. But that's not really the product's fault. That's pretty much gonna go badly with all liner. What else? Lips. Yes, this is really lovely. I'm a big fan of this. If you can't get your hands on the Peri Peri, I think this is a really good alternative. I like the colour. I think it's pretty. It's very comfortable. Don't know how long wearing it's going to be, but it feels reasonably. It doesn't feel dry, but it's had a bit more time to dry down and it feels 3/4 dry. I will continue using these products and give you some more details later on about how I have gotten on with them, because obviously first impressions, it's kind of hard to reach a final conclusion. But I really love the cream blush, that Fenty cream blush. I love the colour. I love that it's sheer enough that I can use it, but it has enough pigment that you could build it up. If you have a deeper skin tone, you're still going to be able to build it up to a blush. It's going to show. It's really unusual to get a really good, strong purple tone like that in cream blush, so I'm really happy with that. And I'm surprised by how much I actually like this colour of the Pro Glow drops, because I don't usually like a pink highlight, but with this kind of whole cool tone, more purpley look, it worked. It wasn't too pink. I probably still will mix it with the Illuminati shade to get something a little more light champagne-y compared to either bronze or pink. But that's just my personal preference. I'd really like it if they came up with a greater range of shades, because I feel like both paler people and deeper skin people would really benefit from that. Okay, that was everything for today. I will definitely be using everything. There was nothing where I was like, ugh, this is horrible, I'm never going to use this again. Everything did pretty well. So that's a thumbs up. I really enjoyed using the By Terry stuff for the first time. I felt super fancy and luxurious, so that was very nice. Time to stop rambling. Let's finish this up. Thank you so much for joining me today and for watching this video. If you'd like to watch more, please subscribe. I would love it if you would come back and join me again. Bye!